This broadcast is the property of Codependents Anonymous. Reproduction without written permission from Codependents Anonymous is not permitted.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fellowship Forum for December 2021, the last Fellowship Forum of the year. The subject for today, the topic for today is anonymity and what it means to me and how I can use anonymity in my recovery, in my 12-step CoDA recovery. The things that amaze me most about the word, once I learn how to pronounce it, are that there's really so little information for such an important subject. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions. And for me, anonymity helps me understand how I can practice with humility steps 5, 6, and 7. I'd like to hear what anonymity means to you and how you practice anonymity in your recovery. And with that, I will open the meeting to conversation. This is a forum, not a typical open meeting. We don't read foundation documents. We talk about a topic. And today's topic is anonymity and how to effectively use anonymity in the CoDA recovery sense. I looked online in the dictionary for Webster's definition of anonymity, and I thought it was a little bit, it could be construed as negative. So, Meg, would you like to share? Yes. Oh, Simone. Simone has a hand up. Welcome, Simone.
Hi, my name is Simone. I'm codependent. Want to wish everyone a happy holiday and a good and healthy, safe day. Today's a good day to be in recovery. Thank you for the topic of anonymity, and I appreciate the advanced remarks. In the region of the country where I come from, oftentimes people do stumble over the word anonymity. I don't know. I tend not to because I guess, part of my codependence patterns are I have to get something perfect before I open my mouth. And that is an energy, in codependency that actually keeps me from being truly anonymous, the feeling that I can only speak if I have a perfect message. So, my sponsor often would tell me, Simone, look for a middle ground. Don't reach for the middle finger. And it's in finding those middle grounds that I've found the most comfort and ease with anonymity. Very recently, I've been attending CoDA meetings where I've been coming across newcomers who are sincerely interested in being sponsored. I mean, always in CoDA, in my long recovery, I've been in active recovery for over 16 years. So there were always newcomers, but lately I'm finding people who actually genuinely want to recover. So for the first time, I find myself a lot more willing to sponsor. And what was interesting was I see around me a lot of well-meaning people who reach out to the newcomer. And I recall that in the patterns and characteristics, there's one that jumps out at me, and it says in the control patterns that codependents often use recovery jargon in an attempt to control the behavior of others. And with this particular newcomer that I was looking at, I definitely was not trying to feature or highlight that I had X amount of years or had done Y amount of service or that I had a Z amount of codependency recovery experience. I just sat and listened. And rather than getting into the platitudes that a lot of people do, I think out of maybe a good intention of wanting to help people, I just let it sit. And that spirit of anonymity was, I felt, in the recovery sense, not in the tea tradition sense, but in the recovery sense, really helpful. Like I was told early on that we work these steps in the spirit of the traditions. And what I'm finding is that by not trying to become a wallflower and just sit in the meeting, but also not trying to put myself out there like, well, hey, if you want what I have, just ask me how I got it, which I sometimes also hear in the meetings. Just by being there, sometimes showing up is doing service in the spirit of anonymity. And it's kind of a nice thing. And feeling like I don't have to chair the meeting in order to be proving that I'm making a contribution, or I don't have to do titled service to prove that I'm making a contribution. And, through that spirit of anonymity, I'm learning that there are new and more interesting ways to help. Sometimes watching a newcomer do service and just keeping them company so that they don't feel alone and isolated, on the brink of burnout. Sometimes that's the greatest service of all. And, it doesn't get my name published in any annals of CoDA. It doesn't get my name put up on any websites. It doesn't necessarily add to my prestige, but what it does is it gives me a sense of peace, of serenity, and certainty in my CoDA program. I'm sorry to have spoken a lot, but it's something I have a lot of passion about, but I would very much like to step down and hear other voices in the room. Thank you so much for letting me share.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing, Simone. Today's topic for the Fellowship Forum is anonymity. What does it mean to me? Why is it important for my CoDA recovery? We are open for comments, questions, and shares.
I can share a bit. I'm Meg.
Hi, Meg. Welcome.
Thank you. Recovering codependent. So anonymity, for me in the program or any kind of place where I'm sharing personal information is just really important to feel safe. I believe there's plenty of data that shows that whatever kind of recovery someone is working on, that safety is paramount to that process. Otherwise, we can't access the parts of ourselves. So I know for me that's true, and so that's the basis of it. But also just there's lots of, like, it's in the traditions. I think that's where it's written in, and I think it's so important that it's not just a tradition, but I'm figuring out that for the first time that the traditions are part of the program too. I used to see them as rules. About 30 years ago, I did another program and I did the steps for the first time. And then I hadn't been involved in a 12-step for many years. And I'm realizing that the traditions are really not just rules about how to operate, that it's really something you can learn about what it really means and take it out into the rest of your life. And the anonymity part is about, respecting when somebody shares something with you, respecting the privacy and the sovereignty of a relationship, or the expectations of privacy in different relationships and in different groups, and not just going out and sharing that with anybody, but thinking about what is best for the group or what is best for the relationship. And learning to sit. I need to learn to sit on information sometimes if I'm uncomfortable with it. And sometimes I want to share that. And I made a mistake one time. I was feeling the need to end a relationship with someone because I thought they were, I was really concerned about like a mental illness, and it was starting to have a really bad effect on me. And I was feeling guilty, and I went and I shared with the leader of our church community group. It's just a small group of about 12, that I was concerned about this. And it was really just me feeling guilty that I wasn't going to be able to be there anymore for this person. And I had no right to share what I knew about them. So it's like I can justify trying to take care of my own feelings and make it seem as if I'm actually caring about somebody else. So I think it's a big topic, and I'll just share that at this point. But it's really a really pretty expansive topic if you really get into it. So great. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for your share, Meg. I'm going to read a little bit from a booklet called the 12-Piece Relational Toolkit, which was prepared by the Experience, Strength, and Hope group of Codependent Anonymous in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, on the subject of Tradition 12. This booklet is intended to serve as a companion to CoDA's 12 steps and 12 tradition workbook in support of our Tradition 3, desire for healthy and loving relationships. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Tradition 12. Tradition 12 tells us that anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions. This suggests that all of the other traditions can and should be viewed through the lens of anonymity, and that this is what it means to place principles before personalities. In other words, anonymity guides us to the next right action without reference to the personalities involved. I'll stop there. That's just the beginning of that. This is a fairly recent work, and I enjoy reading that new material. I like the freshness that is expressed in some of the newer booklets that are available from Core Publications. Kaylin, if I'm saying your name correctly, if not, please correct me. I see you have your hand up. Welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Hi everybody. My name is Kayleen. I am codependent.
Welcome, Kayleen.
Thank you very much. Thank you for leading the meeting and hosting this awesome meeting on Christmas Day. Gosh, I'm a little bit nervous to share, but I find that oftentimes that's when I need to share the most. I really can appreciate the message that of principles before personalities in Codependence Anonymous, because as a codependent person, being, I guess, attached or enamored with personalities and feeling very emotionally and empathically kind of tied to people's personalities, or using my personality to try and like evoke affection out of other people, it's a problem for me. So remembering to put principles before personalities really helps me stay grounded in my program, where I don't just start to fly off the rails and seek validation and try my best to fulfill validation in other people based on what I think their personality is. Instead, in CoDA, like in recovery, I'm able to appreciate people's kind of like, I guess, more authentic selves, or I guess maybe like just the honesty that comes with working the program for a lot of people. I'm a newcomer greeter at a meeting that hosts a lot of newcomers. We have a lot of newcomers, and a lot of them they'll mention other people's names in their shares. Like they don't know any better. They don't really know the traditions. They'll mention other people's names in their shares and like that sort of stuff. And it can be kind of hard to remind people. I mean, for me, I don't even know if I should remind people or not sometimes. Oh man, yeah, I guess I just wanted to share that on anonymity too. Thank you all for being here, and I'll pass.
Thanks for your share, Kayleen. And just a reminder to newcomers, this is a audio-only meeting. Please keep your video off. And this meeting is recorded, and the recordings for fellowship forums can be found at the address just posted in the chat. If you have questions about this topic and you don't want to speak, feel free to use the chat. Today's topic is anonymity. What does it mean to me? Why is it important for CoDA recovery? We are open for shares, questions, and comments on today's topic. Deborah, I see you have a hand up. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Debbie, and I'm a recovering codependent. My apologies, I didn't realize this was a audio-only meeting, which is real cool and quite fitting for the topic of anonymity. First, I just want to say happy holidays to everybody, and hope you're enjoying the day. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. And I am working, and so I must hang up. I'll get back to you guys later.
Thank you, Debbie. Look forward to your return. Today's topic, anonymity. What does it mean to me? Why is it important for my CoDA recovery? When we try to take this position in our daily lives on the subject of Tradition 12 and anonymity, I continue reading from the 12-piece relationship toolkit. When we try to take this position in our daily lives, we find ourselves examining many of our old habits and patterns of behavior. We realize that some of our codependent patterns were knee-jerk reactions to someone else's personality, rather than a considered response to the facts of a situation. Other behaviors were thinly veiled attempts to gain attention or approval, rather than the good deeds we convinced ourselves we were doing. In recovery, we begin to separate our feelings from the facts of the situation and to identify the right course of action by applying the principles that we've learned throughout the 12 traditions. Some of us have found that doing anonymous good deeds is a useful exercise in learning to apply Tradition 12, along with Traditions 8 and 11. Performing a kind and loving act without any reward, even the approval of another person, helps us to cultivate humility and self-esteem rather than other esteem. If no one has any questions, comments, or shares at this time, I will continue reading from the 12-step and 12 tradition workbook on the subject of Tradition 12, anonymity. Anonymity creates safety because it establishes an environment where we can speak with less fear of being judged or quoted. As one member shared, I've had the painful experience of being judged by others. Now, in my program, I can make a choice not to behave in that same judgmental way. I remember that everyone is entitled to his or her own opinion. When I listen, consider, and accept, then I know I have heard the principle of what was said. When we honor the concept of anonymity, we place principles before personalities. Being anonymous may include not only keeping our last names private, but also where we live, how much money we make, and what we do for a living. This reduces the possibility of personally judging others and ourselves, because social, economic, and political differences are not identified within the fellowship. Every member can focus on recovery from codependency. We have the unique opportunity to listen and work with people who have the same goal. With the boundary of anonymity, we are reminded that we come together for one primary purpose: to carry the message of recovery to codependents who still suffer. That's a very different definition of anonymity for me than the one I find in the dictionary. The dictionary refers to anonymity and anonymous synonyms: facelessness, namelessness, nowhere, nowheresville, obscurity, silence. And I wish I could find it now. Antonyms of anonymity. Antonyms of anonymity: celebrity, fame, notoriety, renown. Step 11 reminds me that I never speak for CoDA. I am not a representative of the program. My actions and my behavior speak for themselves. If they reflect the recovery I experience in this program and others are attracted to that, I may share my experience in this program, but I never present myself, as Tradition 11 reminds me, as a spokesperson for this program. That is part of what anonymity means for me. Anonymity in the CoDA program for me means reminding myself to stay right-sized. That pretty much sums up my feelings about anonymity. I can ask myself, am I being right-sized, or am I trying to impress other people? Am I getting back into the business of people pleasing? Not something, not a job I want to be doing anymore. I want to be working on my recovery all the time. My recovery has become a full-time task. That's the way I keep my codependence in control. I'm always going to be codependent. I am a codependent. I get triggered, do codependent things all the time. the difference in this program for me is that my codependence and my codependencies don't control me or my life. They're just a part of me. They are balanced by what I learned in this program of recovery. And I'm grateful for that opportunity. I'm grateful to learn how to stop digging once I've gone down the rabbit hole. I don't need such a big ladder to climb out anymore. I have the tools that I learned in this program from the steps and traditions and the shares and the fellowship, from journaling and service that help me in my recovery. And learning to accept and practice principles before personalities is a big step. I'm still learning about that. I'm still learning about anonymity. I'm glad they saved it for last. Any questions or comments? Deborah is back with a hand up. I see your hand, Deborah. Welcome back.
Hi, my apologies. I work on the holidays from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that kind of keeps me from forcing me to have to be with family. So that's kind of the good thing about working this long. And by the time I do get to the family, everybody's usually a lot calmer and any drama has already taken place. But that won't be happening today, as I am now, I think I mentioned this earlier, I'm more of the black sheep of the family, and I'm being pushed out by my qualifier, my sister, and her flying monkeys, my couple other members of my family that just believe whatever she says. So that's sad. Now, anonymity, as I was saying, the tradition reads, is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. And one example I can give is, I don't want my family to know that I'm in CoDA. And so this tradition ensures that I'm anonymous when I come in here, and that other people who may meet me in here, they don't tell other people that they saw me in CoDA. The only person who can say that I make CoDA meetings should be me. I can share and break my own anonymity if I want to. And it's the spiritual foundation of what we do in this program, as well as other 12-step programs, because the reason why we're in this support group is because we need help. And sometimes what I need help with is not that acceptable in society. It's not understood. It's not looked at. It's not looked upon as maybe something great. Maybe many people see it as a weakness instead of a strength. And I, like many other people, would prefer that some folks not know what I'm doing, because unfortunately, the reality of humanity is that we're mean to each other. And we want to spread love and treat each other with kindness, and we want to practice principles like being honest and being willing and being kind and existing with dignity and integrity. However, the reality is that everybody doesn't work with those principles all the time. Matter of fact, there are times when I'm not working on that level, that higher level of being a human being. And sometimes it's safer to come in a room like this where you can share your feelings and what you're experiencing with people who are experiencing the same thing that you are. And we have a level of understanding, empathy, and compassion for one another because we understand each other's pain and we understand portions of each other's journey. And so that's part of the beauty of the anonymity, is that we're not anonymous when we're looking at each other, but we're anonymous when we leave each other and we don't tell other people who we saw in the meeting. That's basically what I wanted to say. And then the other thing that came to my mind was that saying, like, take the messenger, don't shoot the messenger, but hear the message. That reminds me of anonymity to a certain degree, because we're not here to shoot each other and kill each other because we have this issue that we're dealing with. But what we are here to do, what I'm here to do, is to hear what you have to say and hear your experience, strength, and hope, and take from it whatever I need to help me to get better and become a better person, and get stronger so that I can continue my journey, and fight the good fight, because this is a fight. This codependency is a little bit of a fight sometimes, to stand up and believe in myself and trust myself, to know that it's okay to grieve, feel the pain, and go through the stages of grief so that I can get to the acceptance part. It's work. And I'm grateful for the anonymity so I can do the work that I need to do to get where I need to go in CoDA. And stand against those personalities that really mean me harm. They mean me a lot of harm. So that's all I have to share. Thanks for sharing. I'm grateful that this is an audio only meeting. Peace, everybody.
Thanks for your share, Deborah. Today's topic is anonymity. What does it mean to me? Why is it important for my CoDA recovery? We are open for shares, comments, and questions. Jan, I see your hand is up. Welcome. We do have a little time left before closing the meeting for any questions, comments, or shares on today's topic, anonymity.
I'm sorry. I thought I didn't unmute myself when I was trying to talk. Can I still talk?
Yes, continue,
Okay.
Please. Welcome back, Jan.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm Jan and I'm codependent. It's really nice to have somewhere to go on Christmas Day when I know a lot of us don't come from the greatest of families. And so for me, the subject of anonymity is really important because somebody else was saying people don't get us. They just really don't get us. And the family that I've come from, there's so much dysfunction. There's alcoholism and all kinds of stuff going on. And there was always this elephant in the middle of the living room, but nobody ever saw it. And I remember as a very young child feeling like I didn't belong in that family. I thought maybe I was adopted. And I realized, now that I was always different. I'm a really deep person, and that's what I see with other codependents. We're very deep. We're not shallow people. And I remember someone said to me once, you are such a, complicated person. I don't see myself as complicated, but people that don't think or feel or have to struggle to feel don't get it. So for me, having the CoDA meetings, it has saved my life. It has basically saved my life. I'm also in another 12-step program, but for me, I needed to go somewhere where I could look into my childhood, whereas that's where it all started. It just all started. I didn't get what I needed. I've spent my whole life just trying to prove that I'm okay, and I don't have to do that anymore. I truly believe because of this program and working the steps and doing everything that was suggested, I'm an okay person today. And it's all right if people don't like me. I don't like everybody either. And I don't hate people. It's not that. But what I'm finding is the equal partnerships. That's what I want in my life today, is equal partnerships. And I want to be with people that understand me, that I don't have to just keep apologizing or explaining myself. It's too much. It's just been too much. So, like I said, I am so glad this meeting is here today and that we have each other. And I do really like this, not seeing each other. It's kind of cool. So thank you so much.
Thanks for sharing, Jan. Today's topic is anonymity. And why is it so important for my CoDA recovery? And to continue reading from the 12-piece traditional toolkit, we begin to stop focusing on what someone else might think, feel, say, or do in reaction to our choices. We still consider other people in our decisions, but they stop being our only consideration or even our primary consideration. Instead, we ask ourselves the kinds of questions that our study of the traditions have taught us. They might include, will this decision promote or undermine unity? What will be best for the majority in the long run? Consensus. Will this decision reflect the will of our higher power, so as expressed through the group conscience? Acceptance. Will this decision exclude someone unnecessarily or inappropriately? Anonymity. Whose problem is it? Anonymity. Whose problem is it? Primary purpose. Will this support or undermine my or our primary purpose? Primary purpose, carry this message to other codependents. Focus. Am I allowing outside influences to distract me? Self-support. Am I doing something for someone else that they can do or should do for themselves? Am I being self-supporting myself? Unconditional love. Am I attaching a cost to doing the right thing? Flexibility. Am I being rigid or dogmatic? Outside issues. Am I bringing in or reacting to issues that aren't connected to the problems at hand? Attraction. What kind of example am I setting? Am I telling or am I showing? Ultimately, all these questions can be condensed into a single, simple idea. What's the loving thing to do? If our higher power's will for us is that we be kind and loving, then this single question can guide us in our choices. Doing the kind and loving thing will always reflect these principles. However, we need to remember that the kind and loving thing is not always the popular thing, because other people learn to treat us the way we treat them, the way we teach them to treat us, because other people learn to treat us the way we teach them to treat us. Sometimes the loving thing is to say no. Since practicing these principles guides us to a new level of honesty, we find that we are able to be more open and direct in our communication with others. We become men and women of integrity who say what we mean and mean what we say without saying it mean. We begin to fit into a rigorous definition of honesty. We begin to fit into a rigorous definition of honesty. Our thoughts, words, and actions agree with each other. We find that we're walking the walk. We use Tradition 12 to consolidate the principles we've learned in all of the traditions. Last thoughts, final shares, questions before we close the meeting. For today. Simone, I see your hand up. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Thanks for acknowledging me. I just had a question. Perhaps it's obvious, but I want to ask nonetheless. What are the consequences for not observing the spirit of anonymity? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I think that's an excellent question, and one that I have to ask myself all the time. I think that that's the kind of question I should always be asking myself in every step in tradition. What are the consequences of not doing that? Thank you. Good reminder. Thank you, Simone.
She didn't answer it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
A little diarrhea, but it's really disgusting.
Please raise your hand if you have a comment to share with the group. Kayleen, I see your hand up. Please continue.
Thank you. This is Kayleen again, still codependent.
And you're next, Deborah. Sorry to interrupt, Kayleen. Go ahead.
Thank you. I know for me, a major consequence of not observing anonymity is that I feel very uncomfortable at the meetings. Or I know if I slip up and accidentally call someone, by their last name, or accidentally mention somebody's name in a share, I know I think about it for a long time, and I try to go, not be too hard on myself, but I just feel like it takes away from granted it's a safe space for codependents to practice these new recovery tools, for new ways of life, different from what a lot of people have grown up and known for their entire lives since they were born. I know that's where I'm at, and I have a hard time when I violate the rule of anonymity. I know for myself, when I'm in meetings, I notice other members overlook the anonymity of it. It really just, I don't know. For me, it feels kind of icky and kind of sad, and I don't like to be. I've been in meetings where, I think I mentioned, I'm in a newcomer meeting.
I think we lost Kayleen there. There you are. Kayleen, lost your audio. It's a little, not getting your audio, Kayleen. While we wait for Kayleen to get her audio resolved, Deborah, I see your hand up, and I thank the person for posting in the chat the link to the literature I've been reading. Please continue, Deborah.
Hi, I'm still Debbie, and yeah, I'm trying to open up the literature now. That's really good. I just wanted to say, things can happen when we don't follow the traditions. It could be something really simple, or it could be something really big. And something simple could be your own depression, or feeling like you've stepped over some boundaries, and your spirit is restless because I know I did something that I wasn't supposed to do, sometimes by accident, or if I do it intentionally. If I do it intentionally, I really will feel bad. Accidentally, I'll feel bad too, but at least I know I did not, my intent was not to do harm. And so I can do harm to people when I break their anonymity, and I start looking at the person instead of the message and the concepts that they're trying to convey to me. And it could be something big, like somebody might kill themselves, or want to kill somebody else, or end up in jail as a result of people not practicing the principle of anonymity and respecting other people's privacy. And I think the biggest thing that can happen as a result of not practicing anonymity is that people who need help will not continue to come into the program. They won't come in. They won't come in the room. They won't come in the Zoom room. They won't participate, because they'll start to know that when they come in the door, it's their fair game, and everybody is going to know what they're doing. So people are not going to participate. They're not going to come. And at some point, the program could die from the inside out. So that's pretty much all I was going to say.
Thank you for your share, Deborah. You are heard. It's time for me to close this meeting. We are welcome to stay here. You're all welcome to stay here and continue in fellowship after I close the meeting. Before I close, I'm going to read Kayleen's comment from chat. Her mic has died, and she was to finish up her thought. I was wrapping up anyways, just saying that when people call me by my name in meetings, when I'm not volunteering to share, it makes me feel quite emotional. Thank you. Thanks for your share, Kayleen. And being this is December, the last fellowship forum of the year, and next month, January, our topic will be acceptance. Step 1 for January, forgiveness and acceptance. The fellowship forum happens on the last Saturday of the month. We gather and discuss a topic. Next month, January, the meeting will be on the 29th and Saturday, 2022. 12 noon Pacific time, 1 p.m. Mountain time, 2 Central, and 3 Eastern time. Again, the topic will be acceptance. Hope to see you at another meeting and back here next month for the fellowship forum. And instead of closing on a closing, we are about to enter a new year. I'd like to close the meeting on an opening. So you're welcome to join me in reading the CoDA opening prayer. In the spirit of love and truth, we ask our higher power to guide us as we share our experience, strength, and hope. We open our hearts to the light of wisdom, the warmth of love, and the joy of acceptance. Keep coming back. It works when you work it. You're worth it. Work it. Thank you all for being here and for your shares. Simone, I see your hand up. I'll just close the meeting. Please stay on for sharing.
That was applause, not a hand up.
Oh, thank you for clarifying. And everybody stay safe, be well, have a great holiday, and a happy new year. See you next year.
Thank you, David. Thanks for your service.
Thank you, everyone. Good health to you.
Thank you.